The idea is that Maestro wants to be a data provider for market activity on Cardano DeFi platforms.
This interview is with Vidaris from Maestro, and it was a Catalyst proposal video. I didn't get it out in time, unfortunately, but the team are still building this platform for the community. This is Dune Analytics for Cardano. So this is all of the on-chain data from all the DEXs, DeFi, and probably even also the NFT marketplaces. And they're providing all this data for projects out there, such as all the DEXs, so they can consume that data and display it in any way they want. A lot of big companies use this type of data to get a really good overview of how an ecosystem is performing. Having this data really helps with traders, so they know exactly how the market's going, which direction it's going, what trades are being done, where money is flowing, etc. So having this information is really important. We don't have something that's really in depth like this in the Cardano community. It's very similar to what you might find with tap tools at the moment. That's probably something that comes close to it, but all this other data that you get from Dune Analytics is crucial for anyone that is a big institutional investor that wants this type of information to make a correct call in the ecosystem. So this interview does go through their proposal and everything else around it. So I really hope you enjoy this one. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and notification bell on your way in. Lots more Cardano related content for you. Let's get into it. I have Vidaris joining me to talk about a Cardano version of Dune Analytics, and this is a Catalyst proposal from Maestro, and we're going to go through the details of this one, find out exactly what the team are building and why we need something like this in the Cardano ecosystem. I'm pretty excited about it. Now, Vidaris, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. I've been following you for a while. Greetings from Rare Evo in Denver, Colorado. One of the most exciting proposals we have this time around is Dune Analytics for Cardano. And the idea is that Maestro wants to be a key data provider for market activity on Cardano DeFi platforms. And so the reason we saw this as an opportunity is because it is a seminal moment, a very critical kind of shift in our ecosystem maturity and our growth with all of these different DeFi platforms coming into the space. And not only the DeFi platforms and the applications, but the infrastructure to support the DeFi is maturing alongside it and enabling all of these applications. And so with all of this financial activity, market activity entering into the space, it makes sense for there to be a data API that anyone can use to track these types of activities in real time from the perspective of pricing and market action. For example, like fund managers or traders, right? They can easily interact and integrate, their trading strategies with Cardano using our APIs, and so that's the goal of this project at a high level.
So this takes it further than just the general analytics of like how many wallets are using Cardano, etc. It goes really deep into everything that you need to know as an institutional investor, I should say.
Yeah, we're starting from the ground up, right? So initially, it's just price data over time with different aggregation levels, right? So if anyone has used a trading platform before, they are familiar with the candlestick data. And we're not initially going to provide visualizations. We're just going to provide you with the APIs in which you can retrieve that data in a way that's compatible with charting libraries that TradingView, I believe. And so initially, it's price data over time aggregations that will enable you to visualize candlestick data. And initially, also, we're going to provide data for a certain number of pools for a certain number of dexes. But that's just the beginning, right? So we also want to then, the initial hurdle of this project is to build a platform internally that will allow us to very quickly integrate with different dexes, with different lending platforms, and then within each of those different pools that are, we'll rank it by popularity and liquidity, and then eventually, we'll expand as we continue to build the platform.
Now, you guys are going to open source this as well for the community, or is it a platform that you're going to integrate for your own selves with Maestro?
So the data API component of it is going to just be part of our infrastructure, our overall kind of developer platform. So if you have a Maestro account, a API key, including the free tier, you can use that to query the data. We then, in the future, beyond this proposal, we want to build visualization kind of widgets and tools out of the box that you can use to visualize this data and to run analytics in any way that you want, right? So once you have access to this data, you can build analytics and custom dashboards using this data for whatever purpose. And then those tools and that part of the platform will be open source. But the infrastructure to support to index and collect the data will not be open source.
Is any of this in MVP or any stage at the moment, or are you starting from ground up at the moment building this?
We're actually been working on it even before the proposal. It's one of our kind of flagship products, at least for within with respect to Cardano. We have already built an indexer, expanded our internal indexer to not only what you see right now. What's available is just index data for kind of more primitive, lower level Cardano data. We've expanded that indexer to track the specifics of transactions in a way where we can associate prices with those trades. And so we've built the indexer, a part of it actually for one of the dexes. And now we're building the other side of it where there's some kind of internal ingestion process to put that data into a format that a trader would be interested in, right? So, like I said, the actual like price aggregations, and then that's one component we're still working on, and the final component is the API, right, where a public-facing API that users are actually the thing that the users themselves will interact with to query the data. So the indexing part is done. There's this other internal service we're still working on, and then there is the actual public-facing service that users will use to interact, query the data. So yes,
Yeah.
we're very actively working on it, even before the proposal.
Very cool. And what about the data visualization? So it's nice to have all these APIs and people can extract the information out of. Will you guys be representing all this data through your own dashboards as well?
No, initially we will not. Not that that would be an incredible opportunity. It's just obviously, there's like resource limitations internally, right? The, just building the indexer and making sure that data is accurate and it has the system is scalable and the queries response times are very fast, even with thousands of users, right? We're focused on solving those problems first, even as part of this proposal. But the idea is like anyone could query this data and visualize it in any way that they want. So that the next phase for us after, the data API will be available, and whoever wants to use that data could use it to visualize it themselves for their own dexes, for their own analytics platforms. But we also eventually want to provide a platform as well where people can visualize this data. Very similar to what Dune Analytics currently has, right? It's not just like a static set of visualizations that and queries you can make, but you can actually like make custom queries to that data and save those queries and save those visualizations as public dashboards or even private dashboards. You can
Yeah.
share that with the community, and that's what we want to take that as the next phase is beyond this proposal. But we need to build the initial platform,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
indexers, and make it very scalable to other DeFi products in Cardano in the future.
What's the costs behind using a platform like this? I could see like tiers of different costings, like projects maybe paying for usage of the API, but users, B2C users, just using the platform and visualizing the data themselves. So what's the strategy behind self-sustaining yourself with some sort of business model?
Yeah, we thought very deeply about how we're monetizing our platform long before we even conceived of the market API, right? As we were, initially when we started as just ISPO providers and we were ideating, kind of going beyond being ISPO providers and being data providers and a middle, just again, a large scale, kind of wider scale middle layer application suite. We're like, well, how can we figure out a pricing model such that is flexible to future products, right? So, and so we came up with uh, obviously a free tier, but within the free tier, like what we call free is, or even ones that are paid is based on credits rather than like number of queries, right? So with credits, you can price everything in credits, right? You can price simple APIs, simple data APIs in a set number of credits. You can price more complex verticals and complex data aggregations and a larger number of credits, even if you're running just infrastructure, right? Like even if you're running an indexer dedicated to a particular customer, you can price that in credits based on how long they're running every hour, let's say. Right? And so for us, it's just going to fit into our credit-based pricing model, which we currently have in Maestro. We have a free tier with 100,000 credits. We have a paid tier with a set number of credits per day, and then we have the conductor tier, which is the most interesting one, where it's unlimited pay as you go. So the more you use credits, the more you pay, and it's unlimited until the end of the billing cycle. So I think
Yeah.
For heavy hitters of this market API, the conductor tier makes a lot of sense, right? So if they don't use it, or they don't trade much, in the case of like an asset manager, right? If they don't trade much for a particular month, they would just pay much less. And if they are, very actively tracking for the next month, then they will just pay according to how many queries they made to our backend.
Yep. Pay as you go, as you need it. Okay, very good.
Exactly.
Vidaris, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast to talk through everything around Dune analytics for Cardano. It's pretty exciting to see it come to fruition. And I guess in a few months' time, for 6 months' time, we should see more of it in play.
Yeah, very excited to work on this project. And I think, just last thing I wanted to say, I think this type of project, product, whatever you want to call it, I think is a very natural something that kind of comes up as a blockchain ecosystem matures, right? So as liquidity comes into the space, as projects mature, there's more DeFi, there's more market activity. It only makes sense to provide data to easily understand what's happening in these different protocols. So really excited to be working on this, and we really hope we can indeed be the Dune analytics of Cardano.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We'll chat soon.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.